Intonation and tuning. It can be a lot harder on the trombone than on other instruments because we have this slide that covers the pitches everywhere in between the actual notes. It's kind of like a minefield, and you have to step exactly in the right places where there aren't mines. The good news is if you're wrong, you live. The bad news is figuring it out might be a little tough. First of all, for beginners and even most intermediate players, the 7-position system works perfectly fine. But once you start getting into more fine tuning, you realize that we're using it as more of a map to get around the trombone, but we can say, okay, G in 2nd position should be moved in a little bit. So it's not really in 2nd position, it's more in 1.5. And remember, A flat in 1st position, you can't, it's too flat to bring in. So you have to figure out where all those are. And some of them are right there for you. I just told you G is a little bit in, A flat is in the same partial and you can't go in anymore. But that means G flat should be in, or F sharp. F in 4th position should be in. And if you go down a partial to F, now it goes out a little bit. You may have heard your teacher say F in 1st position to be a little bit out. E should be a little bit out, E flat out. D in 4th position is a little bit further out than 4th position. You may have heard that one for the alternate D in 4th position. So it's learning these things, and once you do, it doesn't really change. You have to listen to the people around you and adjust if they're not perfectly in tune, but it's easier on the trombone than other instruments once you figure all of that out, because other instruments, they don't have 1.5 valve, and we do. So figure out where these notes are perfectly in tune for you, and then you don't have to change it unless the people around you aren't that in tune. Now, speaking of people around you not being so in tune, there are a few ways to work on matching the people around you. And the first way is to match what is perfectly in tune. So I suggest using a tuning drone rather than sitting and playing with a tuner. If you play with a tuner, you see yourself not being in tune, but you might not be hearing it. With a drone, you hear it first and then you fix it. So if you don't know what a tuning drone is, it's just a long, drawn-out, low pitch that you play above, and you hear the inconsistencies of the frequencies. I use the drones from tuneupsystems.com. They're really great. You can play with any pitch, so if you are having trouble with those remembering E, G, A, and B and where they all should lie, you could put an E on, and it's this long sustained E, and your E will make a unison, your G will make a 3rd, your A will make a 4th, and your B will make a 5th. And if they're not perfectly in tune, you should hear it, and then you'll fix it, and you'll know where to go next time. So you do that a couple times, and depending on what you're having trouble with, you could play a different pitch. They also have scales, so you can play around with a drone going up and down these major scales. Playing with a drone gets your ear to work a lot better than playing with a tuner or something else. And so that'll get you used to hearing yourself not completely in tune with the drone and fixing it right away. And the next time, it's fixed already, you're already used to it. And then when you translate that to playing with other players who aren't perfectly in tune, you'll hear that same thing and have the same jerk reaction, which is, oh, I'm a little sharper than them, and I need to go out right away. And so you'll see it happening with experienced players, so look for it if you see experienced players playing with each other. Most of the time they'll be perfectly in tune, but they'll get that one note that's not. One player will come in, the other player will go out. Instantaneously, they'll play the note, and then a split second later, they both match each other right in the middle. And it's a really cool thing to see. So what you need to do is not rely on the other player to fix themselves, and you fix and go to them. And it's a much better skill set to have to be able to match yourself to other players than to know you're perfectly in tune, and I'm not going to move, and they're going to have to fix it to come to me because I know I'm perfectly in tune. And that's what you get with playing with a tuner. And with a drone, now you can match anybody. To sum it up, play with drones and fix all of the inconsistencies with the 7 trombone slide positions. So check out the rest of the lesson series. I'll post all of the links in the description below, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two.
Christopher Bill, he sailed the sea, and Annabelle was his daughter. But never a soul did Christopher tell, he never did like the water.